About equations for lines. Now we're looking at equations of parallel lines if we're given certain information. So we're going to look at number 23 here. It says we're going to write an equation of the line that passes through point P. Point P is at 0, -1. And we want it to be parallel to this line. Okay? So in order to write an equation, we know we need two things. We need either the slope and the y-intercept in order to use slope-intercept form, or we need the slope and the x and y value of a point on the line. Okay, so in this case, if we know we want the line to pass through this point, we're going to be using this formula over here, point slope form, because we've already got an x and a y, which are going to end up going here and here. Where do we get the slope from? Well, since we want it to be parallel to this line, parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, so if I look at the equation for this line, this happens to be in y equals mx plus b format. Okay, so this -2 here is the slope of the line. So now I've really got two things, and it's going to allow me to use this formula. I'm going to just cross this one out. I don't need that anymore. I know I've got a point at 0, -1, a point on this line that I'm writing an equation for. So that gives me an x value that I know, a y value that I know. And I know that my slope has to be -2 because it's got to be parallel with this line that has a slope of -2. Okay, so now that I've got those two things, I can plug it into this equation. Remember, in point slope form, your y, your x remain as is. I can bring my equal sign down. I can plug my x in here, so this is going to be a -0. I've got a -1 for y, so it's really minus a -1. And my m value, my slope, is -2. Okay, so this is my equation. I'd clean that up a little bit. I don't like seeing a minus a -1, so I'm going to call that y plus 1. I don't really, this -0 doesn't do anything, so we can just say -2x. Okay, so here's the equation of the line that we were looking for, and that should be parallel to this one, and it should go through points 0, -1. And again, I wouldn't just leave it at that, but let's graph it just to double check. So I'm going to graph the original line, y equals -2x plus 3. I did that on Desmos here. Okay, so that's the one highlighted in red. You can see it's a negative slope, -2. Here's the new equation that we just came up with. Oops, let's try that again. There it is. Hey, those lines look parallel. That's a good sign. The other thing was that it was supposed to go through point 0, -1. There's 0, -1, and it does. So we can be pretty confident that we've done this correctly.